But listen, you're exactly right. We're still in the process. I was in Agriculture Committee over the last 2 days. We started on Tuesday night. We finished last night about 11 o'clock and got our part of the bill through. It's still in the process that it's headed through. Budget Committee hopefully will have it tomorrow. And then next week, which is the week before Memorial Day, just as the schedule was set up, hopefully we're going to be able to move this bill on the floor of the House and get it over to the Senate where they'll begin to deal with it. There's a lot of good provisions in here. There's a lot of things in there, quite frankly, that I would love to see more savings, more spending cuts. Some of the concerns with Medicaid that I have are not in the cuts. It's in the fact that we really haven't gone as far as we need to go. I mean, even these work requirements, which I agree are desperately needed, but they don't kick in the current text until 2029. So that's 4 years away. So I think that there's still some tweaking that's going to take place. There's still some things that can happen.
Can I just stop you and ask you why?
Well,
maybe you can't hear me. But I was just going to say, why are they not going? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not on Energy and Commerce Committee, so I was not privy to be in on that discussion and debate. I was in Agriculture, obviously, while they were going through their long markup, and we were going through our long markup. So, again, I tell people all the time, watch over the next several days, because I think that's going to be important, what this bill is going to actually look like by the time we get it to the floor next week to be voted on. And I'm anxious to read all the details myself, to know what is in this bill that we're going to be actually voting on. I think sometimes there's a delay because they want to give states time to get their things in order. I know, for instance, what we're doing with SNAP, the supplemental nutrition aspect in agriculture, we're giving states a couple of years because we're affecting moving into a shared relationship, a program that the federal government's been paying 100% of, and the states have been administrating it. Now we're going to have some accountability where the states are going to actually have some skin in the game, and if their error rates are out of whack, they're going to pay a higher percentage of the share. If they get their error rates lower, then it's only going to be probably about 5%. The federal government will still pay 95%. So those are all things that are in the works. That's the only reason for the delay I can imagine. But again, we got to be careful with the Medicaid adjustment because we're not really dealing with the big issue, which was the Medicaid expansion throughout all the states, to where at this point, we're paying more for what I call the basement bum, the 30-year-old living in their mom and dad's basement, than we are for the single women, or for the pregnant women, for children, for those with disabilities, those that really needed it. My concern is we've got to make Medicaid reforms so that it can be sustainable. It was a good program when it was started, what it was meant for. And again, just like so many things in Washington, it's a monster that just feeds off the money and gets totally out of control. And it's not sustainable as it is. That's the reason we've got to have the adjustments, because we've got to get it to where it is sustainable.
Pastor, let me ask you a little bit about what's going on overseas with President Trump. We have seen basically him take the Make America Great Again agenda overseas to Saudi Arabia and Qatar. I mean, he's literally on stage coming out to God Bless the USA by Lee Greenwood in Saudi Arabia. We saw this morning he was out speaking to troops in Qatar, actually, in Qatar, where he was dancing a YMCA at a military base. I mean, this is really unprecedented, though I am curious what you think about the Syrian president meeting and the fact that we're lifting sanctions on Syria. This is definitely outside the box thinking.
Well, it is outside the box thinking, David. And I think what we're seeing President Trump do right now is exactly what President Trump is gifted to do, what I think he was elected to do. And he has come into this administration pushing peace and emphasizing peace through strength. And I think that he is taking the strength of the United States and he is using that to speak to these world leaders and to emphasize the importance of peace in that region. There's no greater area in the world that is a powder keg than the Middle East. And I think what he is seeking to do is to build these relationships with these individuals so that he can bring peace. You're even having some of the leaders of Iran. I read a report just this morning. Some of the folks closest to the leader there saying that, look, we're willing to talk. We're willing to perhaps do away with our entire nuclear program. Well, that was one of the goals all along. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, period. And this president's made that clear, and he is the negotiator in chief at all levels. And I think that what we're seeing, hopefully, is peace through strength. And even sitting down with the Syrian leader and being able to perhaps build a relationship there so that we can see peace in this region. Listen, America has wanted and we're hungry for a leader that was respected around the world. And I think that's what we're seeing right now.